temperature tonight. It's warm up here, I gotta be honest with you. The question of whether humans have affected climate change, I simply do not have an answer to. What I see from the things I read, we all see the same things, is the jury's out. I'm come from the camp. I think where I am on this is I think climate change is real. I think it's been real from the start of time, however many million years ago, and it'll be true to the end of time. And whether humans have had impact on that or not, we have no way of knowing. And for a politician, somebody running for office, either Fred or I, it's a dangerous game to start taking somebody's opinion or view and making lifelong, world-changing laws and policies because of that. We do not have a clear answer on this. Okay? And if we do not have a clear answer on this, we better not go down the road that would seriously undermine the economic and the lifestyles of humans. This cap and trade, as Fred mentioned, is an example of that. Cap and trade will cause a major tax increase for everybody in America and will export millions of U.S. jobs, but will do nothing to purport to solve the answer it purports to solve. If we do not have clear and definitive evidence, we cannot turn the human species upside down. Now, Fred is correct. We need to pursue cleaner policies. And how do we do that? Well, I'm a big advocate of nuclear energy, for one. We want to reduce our carbon footprint. If we want to reduce carbon emissions in the United States, then we sure as heck better promote nuclear energy. There is no scenario, there is no pathway that leads to a lower carbon future that does not include American nuclear energy. One last point. The biscuit fire that we had in our state a few years ago, you remember that biscuit fire? That created more carbon, that fire, which was a man-caused issue because we knew those trees were damaged, we knew those trees were dying, and we let them sit there. That fire, according to somebody who testified in front of the Oregon legislature, was the equivalent of having 1 million cars idling for 10 years. Okay? If you want to reduce carbon emissions, get into our forests, cut the trees that we can, clean up the biome, clean up the dead and the dying, and make Oregon jobs out of it.
All right, Scott, you can go first on this one. If you were in Congress now, what would you propose to help the economy recover?
You know, it's funny. I read a lot of political stuff. I know we all do. That's why you're here tonight. And we went from, I mentioned the Reagan Revolution and, of course, the Republican rebirth in 1994. We went from every one of us knowing intuitively that the best thing that government can do, and really the only limited thing that government can do to promote private sector jobs, is to get out of the way. What does that mean? What does getting out of the way mean? It means reduce taxes, lower taxes, simpler taxes, and it means lower regulations and simpler regulations. And yet, over these years, okay, a lot of us, at least a lot of the pundits, have forgotten that taxes matter. Well, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, taxes do matter. Taxes affect every single decision in this state and in this country to work, to save, to invest, and consume. And it's the sum total of those individual decisions, in my opinion, that determine whether an economy is stagnant or growing. Right now, our economy in Oregon is stagnant. It's going to get worse as a result of 66 and 67. What I would do in Congress is work my heart out for tax simplification and tax reduction for families, for businesses, for entrepreneurs. I think American families are the future of this nation, and under a whole slew of scenarios, we have to reward the American family. Our child tax credit right now is a joke. It's the best asset we have in this nation is a family with children in their home, and we're not supporting that with the federal government. I also think that formation of capital is an absolute critical thing. We're driving capital away. We have widened the chasm between risk and reward. We need to shorten that chasm. We have to reduce the taxation of investment capital and start with capital gains. If we removed the capital gains tax in this country, we would have an economic renaissance, an economic rebirth, the likes of which we have never seen.
You know, that last question, Jim, and I listened to Scott talk about that. I've got this Oregon Global Warming Commission, which is a report here that talks about, and I haven't read all of it, but it talks about that the Global Warming Commission is just not another environmental problem or an environmental issue. This is an issue that they believe that we are impacting the environment here. Mr. Bruun is part of this, representatives, or 2 representatives and 2 senators. So, you know, I would certainly, on the next debate, I'd like to talk a little more about this report, talk a little bit more about what's in here, because Oregon is headed down a policy about all this global warming thing, and this is January of 2009. So, you know, I think we need a little more investigation on that. Now, what was that question? Because I was looking through this.
Before we go to that question, Scott, I'll give you a minute.
That's great, thank you, thanks for the highlight. I served on the Oregon Global Warming Commission. I was appointed to that task by the Speaker of the House, and I did not support the conclusions of the Global Warming Task Force. Give Fred credit for doing his research. I haven't run or hid from that at all. I'm proud to serve there. It was a very interesting time. One of the various committees I've served on, I learned a lot, and in the process of education, it has confirmed, not gone away from, but confirmed my belief that that I don't know if humans have a role in global warming. What I do know, though, is that we're not going to subject humans, okay, to the chain around our neck and kicking us off the dock to deal with the